When Malaysia's E&E companies connect with the world's tech brands, big things happen. This is why we continue to push beyond boundaries and strengthening our E&E companies' position in international markets. Today, we break through yet another barrier with EEMM Virtual Marketplace, Malaysia's E&E gateway to the world. EEMM showcases Malaysia's E&E companies across all categories. EEMM has all the wealth of information on a single marketplace portal to promote Malaysia's E&E companies to the world. Business-to-business opportunities are now wide open. Register today and log on to a world of opportunities. Industry 4.0 has ignited a revolution in manufacturing. It is transforming the way we live and work and lays the path for the future. In fact, we are already in the future, and the journey has begun. These manufacturers in Malaysia have started their journey towards Industry 4.0. An alert is sent by the machine, which has auto-detect, auto-diagnose, and auto-correct capabilities. The entire manufacturing operation can be monitored and controlled via a centralized and integrated network. High-resolution wafer picture from the microscope in the fab can be inspected in any location.
Okay.
Integration of hardware and software allows greater autonomy and control over manufacturing operations.
Dispensing quality is very good already.
Today's companies are embracing high technology, transforming manufacturing into a smart factory towards greater productivity and profitability. It lays the path for manufacturers to continue to stay competitive in the global market, at the same time rediscovering the customer's needs and creating new revenue streams. Let's embark on the journey towards Industry 4.0.
The certification requirement is very little, it's 95%, but we still have about 50% of action items.
The transformation is inevitable.
Semiconductor is the foundation of the digital world. Mobile phones have become more powerful, and a car is a small data center on wheels. Zoom meetings and webinars are made possible by semiconductors and cloud data centers. Furthermore, Internet of Things, AI and 5G have become a reality. Semiconductors are driving smart cities, smart homes, and smart gadgets. We can't imagine the world without chips, and the appetite for chips is higher than ever. This high demand has caused an unprecedented chips shortage. However, behind every challenge, there are opportunities. The dynamics in the semiconductor industry is getting more vibrant than ever because of the voracious demand for technology.
No. I'm serious. Supposed to start. Okay.
All right. Okay. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy. Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Wong Siu Hai, Champion of Electrical and Electronic Productivity Nexus, EEPN, and President of Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association, MSIA, all heads of agencies, distinguished guests, members of media, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Welcome to RMK 12, boosting E&E industry in moving up the value chain. I am Nurul Nadia binti Zainal Adnan. It is my pleasure to be your MC for today's virtual event. Ladies and gentlemen, this event is jointly organized by MPC, EEPN, and MSIA, the 12th Malaysia Plan, which was launched by the Prime Minister on 27 September 2021, has identified electrical and electronic E&E as a strategic and high-impact industry. This webinar is to communicate the policy and initiative under the 12th Malaysia Plan. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is my pleasure to invite Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Wong Siu Hai, President of MSIA and the undisputed champion of Malaysia's E&E industry, to provide his introductory remarks. Datuk Seri Wong is the champion of EEPN and the members of Pemuda, which act as a special task force to improve Malaysia's global competitiveness. Let's put our hands together virtually and welcome Datuk Seri Wong. Please welcome.
Thank you, Nadia, for the introduction. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy, Datuk Valvan Velu, Director, Manufacturing Industry, Science and Technology Division, Economic Planning Unit, Chu Jen Wing, CEO of Vitrox Corporation Berhad, Sui Kiang Fong or SK Fong, CEO of Skychip Sdn Berhad, Tay King Cheong, CEO of Dominant Opto Technologies Sdn Berhad, virtual MSIA participants, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning and welcome to the RMK 12 or 12th Malaysia Plan briefing on the E&E sector. Let me begin by expressing my heartfelt appreciation to Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy, for accepting to be our keynote speaker. Our gratitude to EPU, Malaysia Productivity Corporation, MPC, EE Productivity Nexus, EPN, for jointly organizing the event with Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association. The 12th Malaysia Plan has identified electrical and electronics, that is E&E, as a strategic and high-impact industry. Approximately 7% of total global semiconductor trade flows through Malaysia. Malaysia is also a critical hub in the semiconductor global supply chain. According to the World Semiconductor Trade Statistics, the worldwide semiconductor market is expected to grow 25% this year and another 10% next year. The global semiconductor market is expected to grow to $551 billion in 2021 and is projected to grow to $606 billion in 2022. The outlook for the sector continues to be very positive. In the next 5 years, by 2025, the E&E industry is targeted to contribute 120 billion to Malaysia's GDP and generate 495 billion in export earnings. That is a 28% increase from year 2020's GDP of 86 billion and a 40% increase from year 2020's E&E exports of 386 billion. Over the last 3 years, EPN has been working on a strategy to propel more companies to go up the value chain, especially in design development, as well as innovation. Also, working with MSIA, it encourages more MNCs and LLCs to buy local equipments and products and encourage more Malaysians to come out from MNC to start high-tech companies. So, with RMK 12th, what is the roadmap? How can Malaysia be more investor-friendly? How can Malaysia move up the value chain? How can Malaysia keep the talents we have and attract new talents to come to Malaysia? We shall discuss these topics during the panelist discussion. For your information, the Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association was formed in January 2021, and we currently have more than 150 members. Our members are not just from Malaysia. We have members whose headquarters are from the USA, Europe, Japan, China, Canada, Taiwan, a total of 15 countries. MSIA's 4 main objectives are to enhance the semiconductor ecosystem, to encourage more companies to go up the value chain, to be the collective voice of the semiconductor industry, and to collaborate with the government to improve Malaysia's global competitiveness in the electronics industry. Thank you for your attendance today, and I hope we will have a lively and engaging discussion. Now it gives me great pleasure to invite our Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Economy, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, to deliver his keynote address. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Datuk Seri Wong Siew Hai, President of MSIA, my dear colleagues, speakers and panelists, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank everyone for joining this webinar, boosting electronics industry in moving up the value chain. Over the last 10 years or so, I've developed a deep interest in this industry and has been personally involved in a number of programs, webinars, and discussions on the challenges faced by this industry, and more importantly, how Malaysia can position itself to be a major global player in the E&E sector. The E&E industry plays a critical role in the country's industrial development, as highlighted by S.H. Wong. Indeed, Malaysia is a major global hub for the E&E industry. We produce about 13% of the global back-end semiconductor output. The sector, the E&E or E&E products, account for about 40% of Malaysian of this year. There's been phenomenal growth of exports of trade in the E&E products, which amounted to 477 billion. Exports rose by about 19%. As you all know, the E&E sector represents about 35% of Malaysia's total exports. So these are some numbers which all of you are familiar. But the issue today is, where do you go from here? Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 50 years, we have been successful in creating a comprehensive E&E ecosystem, particularly for front-end to back-end semiconductor manufacturing activities. A large number of multinational companies have established their operations in this country, and more Malaysian companies have been part and parcel of this industry, providing products and services required by MNCs. As we know, our domestic companies serve clients in the automotive, consumer, power management, and medical device segments, to name a few. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused severe disruptions to the global value chain and our economy. The lockdown measures put in place by countries all around the world have created a lot of supply bottlenecks and also posed many challenges. During the MCO period, many of you came to government making lots of complaints to me and my other colleagues about SOPs in particular. Alhamdulillah, I hope all these are behind us. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, the issue today is, the question on everyone's mind is, where do we go from here? That's why we're here this morning. Despite the significant contribution to the economy, as mentioned by SH, the industry faces several challenges in maintaining its growth and competitiveness globally. These issues include the shortage of skilled talent and the lack of R&D, in particular local R&D. Going forward, these issues must be addressed if we intend to become, if we want to become a major player and move up the value chain. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the 12th plan has projected the e-industry to contribute about 150 billion to our GDP and about 495 billion to our exports by the year 2025. Going forward, if you would like to work closely with MITI, MIDA, MPC, and the Productivity Network and other industrial players to realize our ambitious targets of the 12th plan, we cannot achieve these targets without the close support from industry leaders like you. So we look forward to working very closely with you. Of course, we also want more and more Malaysian companies, in particular SMEs, to be part of the global value chain. My hope is that Malaysia will continue to be in the impressive trajectory to become nothing less than the leading E&E player in the world. This ambitious goal is possible if all of us work together. I'm happy to see that my colleagues in APU have taken the initiative to facilitate this program and gather stakeholders this morning to brainstorm and to discuss the way forward. On that note, it's my pleasure now to welcome you to this session, and I wish you a successful and productive morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Mustafa Muhammad. Now let's move to the next agenda. I would like to invite Mr. Swee Kiang or SK Fong, founder and CEO of Skychips Sdn Bhd. He has more than 30 years of experience in semiconductor industry, including more than 20 years in Intel, where he was instrumental in starting up Intel Design Center in Malaysia. He will present on putting Malaysia in the world map of IC design. Please welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Can you see the screen?
Are you sharing anything?
Let me share the screen again. Yeah. Okay. All right. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, I can see.
All right. All right. Yeah. Good morning, Datuk Seri Mustafa Muhammad, and good morning, Datuk Seri SH Wong, and also Datuk Relevant. Let me start by telling the story about Skychip. Right? Our aspiration is to put the Malaysia in the world map of IC design. Right? I'm going to share how we're going to do it. Right? So the startup story about Skychip is that it was formed by a team of 20 IC design experts in 2020. This is actually the first time in Malaysian history, Malaysia E&E history, where such a big group actually come up to start up a company. But this is the only way we can actually start up a world-class company, right? And as engineers, we are very careful. So we analyze and we really seize that and convince ourselves that actually there's a golden window opportunity. And also, we want to thank the strong encouragement and guidance from EAPN and MSIA under the leadership of Datuk Seri Wong in his effort to help Malaysian company to move up the E&E value chain. And also not to forget the great support from EPU, right? And our goal is very simple. We want to be very successful and to help to build more IC design company in Malaysia and to repeat the story of the traitorous egg in the Silicon Valley for Malaysia, right? The traitorous egg actually started the company called Fairchild in 1957. And 60 years later, you can see that now we have Silicon Valley that shaped the industrial trend and the technology foreground of the world, right? So we may not repeat the same scale of success, but we do have the confidence that if Skychip is successful, we will be able to bring more entrepreneurs and more talent to build the IC industry in Malaysia, right? And the team that I have actually are very experienced. Jihad is the CTO, and he himself has 20 years of experience in Intel Altera, and is a proud holder of 40 over patents in US, right? And as a team, our average experience is 15 years, the total experience 400 plus years, and we have more than 80 US patents filed in their career. So the golden opportunity that we see for us to set up the high-tech industry or high-tech IC design is firstly the market. We see a high growth in AI, deep learning, and high-performance computing. And with the market, we assess the technology, and we know that Skychip team have the key technology for the high-growth market. Right? We have the technology to support deep learning, and we also have the technology to enable to design a chip for high-performance computing. Right? And beside the market and technology, we also see a great timing. And because of the US-China trade war, it opened a huge market for non-US chips, right? In this case, Malaysian chips. Right? And more importantly is also the people must be ready. And in this case, the team Malaysia is ready. Right? And how the team Malaysia is ready, we have to thank the 40 years of investment by MNC, right? Through the technology acquisitions and the talent developments, you can see that 30 years ago, SH actually started up IC Design Center, the Penang IC Design Center in Intel Malaysia.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you make it as a slideshow?
Oh, okay, sure. Can you see? Yeah. And 30 years later, 2021, SH again do his miracle to encourage a Malaysian IC designer to step up and form the real Malaysian IC design company, right? So there's two historical movements actually made by Dato' Sri S.H. Wong, right? So beside Intel, which actually have rooted in IC design for about more than 30 years, we also have Altera Malaysia, started in 1994, and also other companies like Agilent, AMD, Renesas, Microsemi, Marvell, who actually contributed to the talent development and also passed down the technology know-how to the Malaysian team, right? And Skychip is to turn this trained talent into a Malaysian asset. Right? And our business goal is to be a leading IC company, providing advanced ASIC and silicon IP solution for artificial intelligence and high-performance computing. Right? We are here to develop products and IP that make my Malaysian engineers, right? And sell it and introduce it to the global semiconductors industry. So how is Skychip positioned in the overall semiconductor industry value chain? Right. So there's three main blocks in the semiconductor: assembly and test, wafer fabrications, and IC design. Right. And all of us know that actually Malaysian companies have achieved great success in the assembly and test. Right. Inari is one of the multi-billion ringgit company. We have Unisem, and Intel assembly and test automation equipment. We have Vitrox, we have Great Tex, we have Emulus, and we have Phantom Master, all who have made their mark in the global semiconductor industry. But for Skychip, we are going to take ourselves and bring the Malaysian flag to the IC design arena, right? So our position is to be a fabless IC design company, sitting and competing side by side with peers in Silicon Valley, for example, Marvell, Broadcom, Xilinx, Qualcomm, right? And in using our own IP and our own products. And we can do that because after the 30 years of deep absorption of the technology, the team now have a full IC design competency that can compete globally. And also we can compete globally with our own silicon IP and IC products, be it standard and programmable IPs, network on chip solutions, advanced ASIC, and also the key technology that's needed to bring products to manufacturing and to enable it for high volume manufacturing. Yeah, we have acquired all these technologies through our 30 years of involvement in advanced product design in the MNCs. And to talk about how critical is our technology, you can see that we have access, and we are the only ASEAN company to have access to the TSMC 6 and 7 nanometer technologies. Right? If we compare to Silterra, Silterra is about 30 years or 23 years behind, but we are designing at 6 and 7 nanometer. And at the same time, we are also participating in a global body where we are setting standard for the new memory technologies. Our CTO, Chihak, in fact, is a member in this committee. And you can see that a small company like Skychip suddenly appear side by side with big names like Broadcom, AMD, Cadence, Google, SK Hynix, and Intel in this important forum. Right? So what I want to say is that Skychip, even though we are new, we are Malaysian, but we are playing at the same league as a leading company in the Silicon Valley on critical technologies. And to give some idea on how the Skychip technology actually compare and compete, I want to show you the picture of Fugaku. Right? Fugaku is actually the world's fastest supercomputer. And this supercomputer is actually powered by A64FX chip. Right? And what is inside the A64FX chip is built on a TSMC FinFET technology, right? Using an ARM core and using a high bandwidth memory generation 2 technology. It licensed a Broadcom SerDes. It have a high performance network on chip, and it also use some high speed DRAM. And the one that marked in yellow are actually the technology that Skychip is involving in. We are designing also to the TSMC 7 nanometer. Right? We are developing a HBM3, the next generation high bandwidth memory. At the same time, we are also developing the high performance network on chips. Right? So I hope that this will give some ideas how a small Malaysian company is set our eye to participate and to compete in the global semiconductors industry. And after 1 year of startup, I have a small report card to share with the team, to share with everybody. So first, we are the first Malaysian or ASEAN company designing cutting-edge silicon IP and IC products. In fact, the team has completed 8 cutting-edge silicon IP on 7 nanometer, right? And as I said just now, we have full access to the cutting-edge TSMC 6 and 7 nanometer process, playing as same league as the world-leading semiconductor companies in the Silicon Valley. Right? And in 1 year, we filed 10 patents applications, not only in Malaysia, but in US and in China Patent Office. Right? And our design team grow from 1 to 80 people now, and 40% of them are more than 10-year experience, and 99% Malaysian. Right? And we have the world-class development infrastructure in place, be it a data center and also the world-class EDA tools. And we won the business in the first month of operations. Right? So we really very grateful to the strong support from EPU, EEPN, MSIA, MOF, MITI, and MIDA. Right? Your guidance, your encouragement, and your trust are the critical enabler to our startup. And we are looking forward to compete globally with our own IP and IC products in the global semiconductor playing field, right? And our aspirations is to be the first, but to bring more Team Malaysia to the semiconductor IC design race. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. SK Fong. Okay, now let's proceed to the next Q&A session. For your information, this Q&A sessions we only open for medias. All right. If you have any questions to Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri or Mr. SK Fong, please click raise hand button and we will unmute your mic. Okay. And don't forget to state your name, where you're from, who's your questions for, and your questions. Or just type your questions in the Q&A box below and I will read it to Yang Berhormat Sri. Okay. Okay, looks here we have two questions. Okay. All of these GLCs and companies, but the number of unemployment and poverty is at all time high. This is called capitalism and monopolism. This
irrelevant question to this webinar.
All right. Okay.
You'll take it at another forum. Nadia, maybe I can say a few words. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Skychip for the first company in Malaysia and in ASEAN to have the courage to step out from the MNC to start up an IC design company, and not just IC design company, but cutting edge, developing IPs and product design. So we would hope that their example will be followed and emulated by other designers in the country who would have the courage to step up and follow their path.
Thank you, Datuk Sri. Thank you for the support and also the coaching. Yeah.
I think there's a question asking, are you hiring Skychip?
Yes, we are hiring. Actually, we are hiring very aggressively. In fact, when we started with the 20 founding members, in about 6 months time, we grow to 70, and now we are marching towards 100 already. So we encourage not only experienced engineers, but we also encourage new graduates to join us, right? So the way that Skychip start is, we don't start with junior people and then growing them into senior. We started with a strong foundations of a senior people, and we added intermediate and junior people to grow the companies. So we are looking forward for more engineers and more Malaysians who have the aspirations to compete at a global level to join us.
Any more questions from the media? If there is none, then we will move on with our program.
We have one raise hand.
Oh, we have another questions here. How did you manage to grow to 80 capable design engineers? Did you provide training? What kind of training? How much time is needed for the engineers to reach a level that they can deliver the work?
Okay, good questions. Like as I said just now, we actually started the company by tapping into the 30 years of experience that we built in the MNC. Now, in the last 30 years, actually the team, the founding team actually involved in the CPU design, in the chipset design, in the FPGA design, and also in the SoC design. So they carry themselves each more than 15 years of experience. So when we put the team together, it's not a new team. Actually, it's a team that has been working together in their past career, right? So when we come in, immediately we can jump into developing the IP and delivering the IP, right? So no training is needed for the founding team, but for new engineers that coming in, we actually have a very comprehensive training to bring them up into the respective functions, right? We believe with the coaching of the senior people, within 3 to 6 months, we should be able to getting them to start doing IC design, right? Maybe at a more less complicated stages. Right?
Okay, there's another question from SK Chong. He asked, we are a local high precision coaxial radio frequency test cable company supporting Intel, Keysight, and other MNCs in semicon industries. Is there any opportunity for to support Skychip?
Definitely. Actually, we actually, our aspiration is not only to be a standalone company in Malaysia doing IC design. We want to actually partner with the peer companies, be it in hardware, be it in software, be it in the test and hardware and test program development. We want to form a team Malaysia that offer a complete solution from the IC design to package design to the system design and to high volume manufacturing as a team and compete at a global level. So we can definitely talk SK. Yeah.
Okay, another question here. What does Skychip provide? Well, yes, it moved already. What does Skychip provide to the whole economy of Malaysia? How does it improve it? How impactful would it be in the next 5 years?
Okay, I can say that the only way for Malaysia to move up the value chain and also to be a high income company is to actually working on high value added products and high value added activities, right? So if we take example on IC design, right? An IC design in US costs about $100,000 a year, which is actually 400,000, right? But in Malaysia, some of the MNC are still paying 3,500 or maybe $10,000 a year, right? For IC design engineers. So that we have a lot of room to actually move up the salary scale and still maintaining to be very competitive. As long as we produce high quality products and high quality IPs, right? So we are hoping that by showing that, focusing on engineering, focusing on science and engineering subjects, and then working on high-end activities, we can move up the income level. Starting with a group of engineers and then having more and more, so that the whole country actually can be lifted.
The next question, talk about ecosystem. I think you basically answered it. Maybe I'll just read the last question. Does Skychip plan to design and market own product versus providing design services to the customers? Obviously, I think the attendee was not paying attention. Can you say it again?
Okay. Actually, the difference of a IC design company existing in Malaysia now and compared to Skychip is that the existing design companies are doing design services. Means that if you imagine an F1 race, right? The design service company is like the pit team. You help the F1 racer to change a tire, to put in gas and so on, to allow them to race in the F1, right? Whereas for Skychip, we are racing, we are participating and competing using our own product and IP, right? So that's the difference. For IC design service company, you don't have your IP and you don't have your products. You basically provide resources, right? And for Skychip, we are using Malaysian resources to develop our own products and compete with our own products. That's the difference. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, SK Fong. Congratulations to you and to Chi Hak. Over to you, MC.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the support. That's Sri Mustafa and also EPU and of course EAPA and MSIA. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Mustafa Muhammad, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Sri Wong Siew Hai, and Mr. SK Fong. Ladies and gentlemen, next we would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk D. Relevant Value, Director Manufacturing Industry, Science and Technology Divisions, Economic Planning Unit. As a director, Datuk Relevant is responsible to spearhead the plannings and formulating policies and strategies for manufacturing industry, including E&E sector as high impact industries for the economic growth. He will present on 12th Malaysia Plan 2021-2025, boosting E&E industry in moving up the value chain. Please welcome.
Good morning. I hope you can hear my voice.
Yes, we can hear.
Oh, okay, thank you. Good morning. Thank you for the MC, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Mustafa Muhammad, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Economy, Datuk Seri Wong, my dear colleagues. Somehow or other, I feel very comfortable talking in E&E forum because I worked in the semiconductor industry before joining the government. So I feel very comfortable and feel ease whenever we talk about E&E. Let us start with the congratulates Skychip as the one of the startup companies that made Malaysia proud by being the same. I always like to give an analogy of same league. When in the football you are in same league like Ronaldo, Messi, that kind of thing. So Mr. SK Fong, congratulations to you.
Thank you, Dr.
I remember how we worked together to manage to bring whatever aspiration to become a reality in this.
Thank you for the support, Dr.
Yes, that is what EPU does and the government does. Right now, let me go through a bit about the 12th Malaysia Plan, and then I will zoom into the E&E sector for the benefit of the industries today. So the 12th Plan is to achieve a prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable Malaysia. So that is our theme that we uphold when we design this 12th Malaysia Plan. And this is the first half of Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama 2030. I hope we as a Malaysian need to understand what is Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama 2030, whether we are in the government, we are in the society, or the industries. And this 12th Malaysia Plan outlines measures to reset the economic growth in light of the challenges brought by the COVID pandemic. Dato Sri Mustafa mentioned in his speech about the COVID-19 pandemic and how the government have put this leg in to help the industries, especially in E&E industries, because we are part of the global value chain. And this 12th Malaysia Plan also lays the foundation to position Malaysia as the high-tech and high-income nation by the end of this plan, 2025. And this the last reform in Plan Pemulihan Negara, because you know the stimulus packages since last year. So there's a 6R, and this 12th Malaysia Plan is the reform, the last R in the Plan Pemulihan Negara. Next. So Yang Amat Berhormat PM, when established this RMK 12, mentioned about 9 main focuses in RMK 12. The first focus is for economic growth. The second one, strengthen growth catalyst. The third one is to improve well-being of Keluarga Malaysia. And the focus number 4 is enhance safety and public order. Focus number 5 is eradicate absolute poverty and reduce income gap. Focus number 6 is to empower the Bumiputra and Keluarga Malaysia agenda. Focus number 7 is to boost the development of Sabah, Sarawak, and other less developed states. Focus number 8 is accelerate green growth. Focus number 9 will be improve the public service delivery and ensure effective implementation of the policies. Thanks. So this 12th Malaysia Plan consists of 3 themes, 4 policy enabler and 14 game changers. So the 3 themes are resetting the economy, strengthening security, well-being and inclusivity, and advancing sustainability. So the resetting the economy will focus on restoring the growth momentum of key economic sectors and profiling strategic high-impact industries, as well as MSMEs. So E&E sector will be mentioned in the resetting the economy, and focuses on the efforts to uphold the country's stability. The advancing sustainability will focuses on advancing green growth, as well as enhancing energy sustainability and transforming the water sector. Whatever we mentioned here, the themes of policy enablers or the game changers, E&E is cutting across everything. So it is not typically in which themes or policy enablers E&E is there. It's cut across everything. And the policy enablers is developing future talent, accelerating technology adoption, innovation, enhancing connectivity and transport infrastructure, and the last one is strengthening the public services. So these are the 14 game changers which we have introduced in RMK 12. So the game changers will be the most important catalyst when we want to drive the economic growth of Malaysia in the 12th plan. So the first game changers will be the imperative of reform and transformation. It consists everything. That's the first game changers. Second one is catalyzing strategic and high impact industries to boost economic growth. We have 8 industries that we consider as high impact industries, and E&E is one of them. The third one is transforming MSMEs. The fourth one, enhancing national security and unity for nation building, until we have the 14, the transforming the public service through the whole of government approach. I urge all the participants today, remember the word, the whole of government and whole of nation approach that we have repeatedly mentioned in RMK 12. Next. So,
hi Dato, can you change to the the presenter mode?
we are in the presenter mode. Maybe it is
we
not.
Can see the next slide at the side here. Maybe the display setting there.
Yeah. So give me a second, please.
Click the display setting. Yes. Hi, presenter view. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Dato.
Okay, good. All right, let me continue. So as when I mentioned about resetting the economy, we have RMK 12, 13 chapters. So we have chapter 2, we're talking about restoring growth momentum. Typically, it's about the 5 sectors in the economy that we mentioned chapter 2. And chapter 3 is very unique because we have taken out 8 industries to be known as propelling the strategic and high impact industries. And of course, we are also focusing on MSMEs. So E&E industries will be in chapter 3. We mentioned extensively, and I will go through it one by one after this. Next. So developing, this is the game changer that we are talking about, chapter 10, chapter 11, chapter 12, and subsequently. I will skip this. Next. Right. So profiling growth of strategic and high impact industries as well as micro, small, and medium enterprises. I hope everybody have chance to look through the RMK 12 that we have put it in the website. You can download it. So we have 2 priority area A and priority area B, and now the most focus now is priority area A, where we talk about 8 industries, and strategy A1 is boosting electrical and electronics industry in moving up the value chain. That is our aspiration, or we can say this is our destination that we want to be there. All right, next. So issues, I think, is everybody knows in the industries what is the issues are. So shortage of skilled talent, especially top-end design engineers, easy access to low-skilled workers, lack of R&D activities. E&E is mainly focusing on the manufacturing activities which are low in value added, capital intensity, and technology complexity. So this is nothing new, it's familiar with the industries. So no need for me to explain further. Next. So these are some figures our minister mentioned about it also, and Dr. Sri Wong, you also have mentioned about it. So I will skip this. Next. So so what is incentives for manufacturing sector in including E&E industries? So what have we have given so far? So we have tax incentives, and then we have grants and loans that have been given, domestic investment strategic fund, and also high impact fund. The domestic investment strategic fund is DISF, and HIF is the is for the domestic fund. DISF is for the domestic fund, and HIF is for the foreign companies to invest in Malaysia. So I remember when I was having some discussion with the SMEs, local SMEs, so some SMEs have been questioning to us when we want to invest local companies, DDI especially, we want to invest, not much support from the government. Yes, we really like to see more DDI coming in, so that's why we have given a domestic investment strategy fund, which costs we will allocating 1 billion for throughout 5 years, and high impact fund is about 900 million. And we are for the last budget, government have announced 1 billion fund for the R&D for E&E and aerospace. Basically, this is we will divide into two sectors, industries. One is E&E, and another one is the aerospace industries. The quantum of the fund, we have to wait for the budget in 29 October. So very soon they'll be announcing it. So this is something good for the E&E industries. So there are a lot of seriousness from the government to really help the E&E industries to boost whatever activities they want to do to make sure that this E&E industry is really propelling industries for the economic sector. Next. So these are the targets. We have debated it very extensively with the relevant ministries, and of course with the industries as well, to come up with this target. And we really need to achieve this target. So the performance contribution to GDP comparison to 2016 to 2020, and then now the targets we are looking at contribution from the E&E industry to GDP is 120 billion, and export value is 495 billion in 2025. So this is something we are really looking forward now. That's why I mentioned just now, we shouldn't be looking at we need to come into the circle, the industries, the government, from the communities. We have to come into the one circle together to play and make sure that we achieve these targets. We want industry also to come in. That's why just now I mentioned the whole of nation approach is very important. We cannot be outside the circle and then we commenting, and then we are not part of the parcel of the solution. So we have to this RMK 12 will pave way for this. We need a lot of engagements. We will create platforms for the industries and community to come together with us to make sure that the whatever targets we put it in RMK 12 can be achieved. The government will facilitate whatever the industries want to make sure that it's practical for us to achieve the target that we have put it in. So whatever passed, RMK 11, RMK 10 or RMK 9 is passed. So now is RMK 12 that we can chart our future. So E&E plays an important role for us. So we have a great what we call keen on E&E industries. Next, please. So I can't see the title. So okay, strategies to boost E&E industries. So this is exactly in RMK 12. So this is what the strategies that we have put it in. Some strategies have gone. We have put it in until we have projects. Most of the strategies is open-ended. So this is way how we designed RMK 12 so that when it's open-ended, there is a chance for the greater participations from the private sector to come in and discuss with the ministries and agencies so that we can have a more what we call implemented and restructured initiatives from the industries. It is not from one side, from the government, we say this is we have to do. No, we need the private sector to come and join together with us and say, okay, now this is the way we need to do. So the first one is strengthening electrical and electronics industry ecosystem for higher value chains. So there will be a national E&E roadmap will be formulated. The roles I won't touch on which relevant ministries are doing it because we have another what we call exercise on that. But for the industries now, it's good to know what are the initiatives that we have planned in RMK 12. The first one is the E&E roadmap, because you don't have the roadmap where we want to bring the E&E, what are the initiatives we need to put, how to develop the E&E and where we want to position them, then is very difficult. We need a plan, a proper plan. So this is what the ministries are doing now. And I really hope, and I'm sure that the E&E industry, especially the MSIA, E&E, PN, all involved in this roadmap. The roles of relevant organizations will be enhanced. Incentives for E&E industry will be restructured because just now I said the ISF fund is there, HIF is there, industry forward fund is there. So many grants are available, funding systems available, but we need to restructure because of the lesson learned from RMK 11. The second one is promoting high adoption of technology. Can we run away from the technologies that are coming in? No. So E&E is not isolated. So we have to adopt the technology. So utilization of greater automation and advanced technology. The Lighthouse project from MIDA, we will intensify it because we have a good feedback from that. Accelerate for our technology adoption and innovation through for our business platform. Next. Uplifting the development of talent and capability. So micro credentials programs will be expanded based on triple helix model. Triple helix model is actually a government, academia and industries. So we are going to the micro credential programs. There's no more general programs. Talent development in line with the national fire policy. I know talent is one of the critical issues that we have in Malaysia. Employers will be upskilled and reskilled. A dedicated center will be identified. This is something new based on our discussion and engagement with the industry, especially from MSIA. We feel that we need a dedicated center to produce the skill that needed by E&E. An example I can say about the IC design engineers. Now what we have, if we have done is we have given a allocation fund for the agencies to train the graduates from the universities another 6 months to come to be ready for the IC design as IC design engineers. So that is a short term. We cannot be giving money for graduates to come out and then we train them. No, we can't do that. So we have to, one, we have to get the what we call the module in the university so that when they graduate, they will be good to be employed. The second one is we need to have a dedicated center to produce these skills for E&E. So it is not a new center. It will be center is already there. We need to redefine it and then give the whatever module or whatever structure that we need for the center. The enrollment in science, STI and STEM is importance will be increased. Programs in public universities will be aligned with the industry requirements. So we are now engaging with the universities. In 2 universities, we have spoke to 2 vice chancellors from the universities already. So they are very keen to be enrolled as a pilot project for this. So we are in the very early stage of this. Second, next. So this is the enhancing R&D and design and development. So focus on design and development activities, particularly in IC packaging, embedded systems. So we need to bring our E&E industries to this phase, design and development, because we want more creator of technologies in Malaysia, not the only we are what we call contract manufacturers. R&D grants and incentive will be reviewed to cater to advanced technology push and market pull activities. End-to-end R&D activities will be promoted. Research institution and centers of excellence will be streamlined. Can you bring it up because I can't see some of the words. To reduce redundancy, dedicated technology and innovation centers will be established to drive technology development, accelerate innovation and technology transfer. So like dedicated technology and innovation centers can be from private sectors led. So it's not necessarily government led, so private sector led. So R&D is very important because I will have some slides about R&D. I will talk about it later. So next. And streamlining national science. This is what the R&D side I want to say. See, 50% of our R&D grants that we are giving to the funding to the agencies and also for the, of course, to the agencies and then to the private sectors. we want that 50% to be used for experimental research, because because you know the R&D always start with ideations, and then there will be a basic research. We want more on the experimental research. So when we have experimental research, is ready to be tested and it can be commercialized. And that commercialization and experimental must be in line with what the industry wants. Must be a solution for the industries. So as I mentioned just now, when we talk to the universities, these are things that we want to streamline for R&D sectors. And our target for R&D is 2.5% in 2025 for the GERD to GDP. And from that, but 70% from the business is from the investment from the business side. So we really hope E&E industries can be championed on the R&D to help to come up with the what we call more technologies design and development, like what just now we have for companies like Skychip, and I know Vitrox is also doing the same thing. So we really hope that more and more companies coming, and we in the government are ready to help, and we always are welcoming this kind of ideas so we can help. In EPU, we have established, next slide, we have established RMU, a research management unit, to coordinate and harmonize funding mechanism for our RDCNI. You know that there are 44 agencies throughout 10 ministries looking at RDCNI. It cannot be silo, and it cannot be a single track or double track or whatever, triple track. It must be one track only for the national, what we call national aspiration. So that is what RMU is going to do. And then I already said about 50% of the R&D expenditure to be experimental development with the high commercialization potential. We talk about TRL 7, 8, 9. That is very good for us already. Increase access to alternative financing, improving tax structure. So please wait for the budget. We see how it goes, and encourage more demand and driven R&D activities. Next. All right. So I think for time being, that's all from me, and I hope that we have a good session after this. And we are open to any suggestion. As I said, we welcome more suggestions to us. Be together with us to really develop these E&E and make sure the RMK 12 is a successful target. With that note, I thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you so much, Yang Berbahagia Dato. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to panel discussion session, and I will pass this session to Yang Berbahagia Dato Dr. IR Muhammad Nur Sani, Executive Committee, Chemical Industry Council of Malaysia and Champion of Chemical and Chemical Products, to moderate these sessions. Please welcome Yang Berbahagia Dato.
Thank you. Salam sejahtera semua. Very good morning to all. First of all, let me say, for this session, we're going to have 4 panelists. I would like to welcome Dato' Relevant. Dato' Relevant, we've not met yet, but I'm CPN, Chemical Productivity Nexus. We will soon meet, I'm sure. The second panelist is Dato' Sri Wong. Dato' Sri Wong needs no introduction. He's a champion, as we all know. There's 2 other panelists, and I think we should get to know them a little better. The 2 person I'm talking about is Mr. Tay Ken Cheong and Mr. Chu Jen Weng. Let me introduce you to this extraordinary gentlemen who are leaders in their own industry. Mr. Tay Ken Cheong graduated with a Bachelor in Electrical Engineering from the UK and subsequently became a Chartered Engineer and proceeded on to do his Masters in Business Admin, also in the UK. From 1989 through to 2000, he joined Siemens in the Opto business units, in which he progressed from being an engineer to a senior director position. In 2001, he founded a company called Dominant Opto Technologies in Berhad, and at the end of the 4 years, in 2004, it got listed as a DNO Green Technology Berhad, and Tay has been its managing director since. He leads a world-class company that's in the forefront of technology, supplying its product to global markets. The company predicts a 20% annual capacity growth from 2020 through to 2026. Mr. Tay, today, DNO has a 7 billion market cap, focused in the automotive industry, especially in electrical vehicle, with car makers like BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, General Motors. A very impressive performance indeed. Welcome, Mr. Tay. Okay, the next gentleman I think we should do justice to in the introduction, Mr. Chu Jianweng. Mr. Chu graduated with electrical and electronics engineering and received his master's in science in engineering as well. He initially started his career as an instrument engineer at Hewlett Packard for 5 years and later founded Vitrox in 2000. Vitrox was established with a seed capital of only 20,000, but with a clear vision and determination, he managed to list it on the main board of Bursa Malaysia in 2009. Vitrox now reached a current record capitalization of 9 billion with an annual turnover of 470 million in 2020, serving more than 500 customers worldwide. Shabash, this is a wonderful success story of a fellow Malaysian that I think we should put together. Okay, let's all put our hands together virtually and welcome all of the above panelists. Before I start this session of question and answers, perhaps I think we start with a little light humor. Technically, we should not have any technical issues on this very technical-based IT webinar. But as you know in life, even Yang Muhammad's speech also was interrupted. But this is life. We get hold of the bull by the horn and we carry it on. Okay, now I've got a series of questions here. Give me about a couple of seconds to look at some of this question. Now, this question I've got is from Dr. Zulfaka, but he has not said from what organization he is. This question is made to yourself, Dr. Velavan. Let me read you the question. E&E is among the top 3 in contributing GDP in Malaysia, and IC design semiconductor is one of the biggest contributors in E&E. But how come in universities it is hard to get research fund or commercialization either from MOHE or MOSTI? How much percentage do R&D grants do the ministries give to IC design semiconductors compared to total R&D grants being awarded? Over to you, Dato.
A very specific question.
Yeah, indeed.
We really, whatever is passed, I mean, before RMK 12, funding for R&D is given to the ministries, and then the ministries take charge of how much funding they're giving, and to the universities, what type of R&D grants they're doing and activities. Now, saying that, in RMK 12, we have RMU, Research Management Agency or unit, which will coordinate all that, and then we are really talking to the universities. As we have put one of the strategies in E&E, we need to have more design and development phase. In order to do that, we need more what we call IC design is one of that important factors that we can take into account. How much percentage do R&D grants do the ministry give to IC design? I don't have the figures with me, and I don't think so the ministry have, because it all depends on what kind of projects is coming into the ministry. Let's say about MOSTI, there are 5 R&D grants that were given, so different type phases of R&D grants. But on which is for the IC design, we don't know. But after this, with the RMU, we have a new database, and we can classify it accordingly. And with the initiative that are put in E&E, and I'm sure that we have a more profound and more detail on the grants that we're giving to the ministries or private sectors or to the universities. So I think it is my general answer, because we don't have data on that from what has previously been done. But I'm sure the question is very relevant. I'm really appreciative for that, for the person who asked the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dato. Okay, this question is actually made to the 2 industrialists who with us today, either Mr. Chu or Mr. Tay. In fact, Mr. Chu and Mr. Tay can provide these answers themselves independently. The question is being asked: as a leading automation company in the country, do you have any suggestion to the government of Malaysia how to help local companies catch up and tap up on the opportunities arising from the new era of IR 4.0. Can I ask Mr. Chu to comment? Mr. Chu?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Sani. Yes, I think there are a few things that I think the government can do. Many of them, I think, just now Dr. Velawan already mentioned. I think the first one is the, I would say, transformation of our education system to be more industry-centric, with a longer internship period, and hopefully to promote more work-based learning. Just now, Dr. also mentions about have to be demand-driven. You know, industry have their needs, and then if the students are able to have longer time of exposures in the industry, I think that will really, really help to let our students to be able to acquire the required skill before they actually graduate, so that we can save a lot of money in the upskilling and reskilling. That's what we are happening right now. So that's the first one. I think the second one is I would think that to increase the minimum wages, I think I will get a lot of problems here. But I think that is the right things to do, and also to increase the levy of low-level migrant worker, because only by doing that, but at the same time to provide incentive to companies to adopt automations and IR 4.0 solutions, so that as a country we will less dependence on the manual labels, and at the same time provide more trainings and hiring grant, especially for the local company, especially MSMEs, so that local companies can also attract the best talents to grow the local ecosystem fast and sustainably. As we all know, we have so many MNC here, especially in Penang, and local company will have to compete head on with all the tier 1 MNCs. And how can the local company able to attract the top talents in the nation? Because without the top talents, it will basically very difficult for the local company to grow. So I think this part the government can help. I think the third one probably to provide incentive, like tax rebate, tax allowance for companies who buy Malaysia, make and design products, including automation equipment, robotics, IoT, and software, and so on and so forth. So that will actually encourage more multinational companies to buy, design, and make in Malaysia products. Thank you.
They've read your mind when they talk about RMK 12. A lot of these issues are being addressed. Excellent. Okay, now I would like to hear from Mr. Tay. That's another industrialist I'd like to hear your comment, Mr. Tay.
I think Chu has covered a lot of points, but I think it's really great. And I think the good thing is Dr. Velawan is somebody that is familiar with semiconductors. So I think that's good. And when he mentioned about private sector join together, I like that word, yeah, because I think the first time I think E&E is part of that RMK 12, and thanks to Dr. Wong and trying to get this through. And Dr. Velawan also mentioned about restructure. I think it is time to look into the structure of those incentives. Yeah, everyone is looking at incentive. Then we can understand, and the incentive can be in any tax form. So maybe later I will present some slides here. But I think it's good that now we open up and discuss about it. All right, so that we can refine the details and get, especially, I think Dr. Velawan also mentioned about GDI, especially the GDI, get them move on. Yeah, you know, we I mean, this country has gone through some turbulence. Yeah, I mean the last, especially the last three months, especially the world suddenly recognized the importance of Malaysia. All right, but that recognition, if we handle it properly, I mean through this session we discussed properly, it is actually a big opportunity for all of us. Yeah. So, and I was surprised in September, the Taiwan Global News talk about Malaysia, the importance of Malaysia, what do you call it, E&E, and contributed 43% of the export. I'm surprised at that, you know. So I think it's good that the whole world now recognize us, and it's time. Yeah, this is hopefully this session. Yeah, we can talk a little bit more details. That of course the rest of the details will be worked by separately, but I think it's important, yeah, that we not just top-down policy, but the bottoms-up inputs, yeah, and we get that aligned. I think we can make Malaysia so-called, yeah, excellent again in this, especially in the semiconductors industries.
Yeah, but Tay, I love not only your answer, I love the emotion and charge you put into this as well. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, you know, I just want to have a short comment. I had a session with Dr. Sri Wong about a week back. He presented a small version of this session to us. One of the questions I asked him is, Dato, I see things like high technology, I see things like value chain. It's no different. I see that in RMK 11. And now I see a repeat of it in RMK 12. I asked him, what is the difference? And he looked at me. He said, this time it's integration. In the past, we focused the government. We focused the industry. And in RMK 12, it's about bringing this together. Industry, the government, the other sectors, the education and BIPs. And I think this will be a true, if we play this right, and I think that will be true success. My industry has its challenge as well. JPJ has gone digitalization. Industry has got its own digitalization, but they're not talking to each other. This is the issue. Okay, anyway, coming back, it's not about my session, it's about your session. Coming back now, that's relevant. There's another, you seem to get the hardest questions, the most specific question. Let me read this question. There are only limited number of lectures in IC design semiconductors in local universities. Since the salary in the industry is a lot bigger compared to the other engineering fields, and he says, but every year, most of our research applications are being rejected without proper review in the ministry. So he says, okay, some of the applications are closely related to industry applications, especially in Malaysia. If the government is serious to stimulate R&D and IC design in semiconductors, the lecturers who applied for R&D grant should be gathered for a special session to improve application until they're worth to get the grant. What is the ministry plan to improve the situation? I think that this is a question from a frustrated lecturer who applied for a grant and didn't get it. Would you like to comment, sir?
Yeah, my simple comment is that the past is past. Now the new things are coming in, and maybe after 6 months, if the same thing happens, then you can ask me the question. I will answer.
All right. So we have to wait 5 years to ask you this question.
No, not 5 years. I say 6 months.
Yeah. Maybe.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I add on into this? Can I add on into this?
Yes, please, Mr. J.
Yeah. I actually talked to a few universities professor before. I said, I think if you look at US or some other countries, the best practice. You just look at best practice. I think they put industrialists into the board in that universities, and when they have a research, let's say application together, it's industrialists together with the higher institution and make that application. And I think that makes a lot of sense because this kind of research fund, research incentive is very well aligned. It will contribute ultimately to the export of the country. So I think that will be something. That's relevant. Maybe you can look into that.
Okay, good.
MC, can I just comment if you don't mind?
Yes, please. Please.
You know, during the National E&E Forum on Tuesday, World Bank presented some data on research. And it shows that between 2016 to 2018, the data they had is until 2018.
Right.
That applied research from the academia is going down.
Okay.
The basic research seems to be going up.
All right.
And if you want to work the industry, they are looking at more applied research, but it is going down in Malaysia relative to other countries, which is going up. So this is one of the areas I'm not sure how the university can shift their focus, or I don't know how the KPI is looked at, whereby funding can be given to universities to look at the industry's problems and fund them to do it and get the product commercialized. Now, the issue here, I guess, is that I talked to some of the universities. I said, during the pandemic, there are so many opportunities for you to solve the problems of the industry. I just take a simple problem like contact tracing. Why can't they do a research there and then, and within the 6 months, a year, come out with a solid solution of contact tracing, so that all the industry can use, and that become a Malaysian issue. So I'm just saying that we all need to look at what the problems the industry is facing and what problems we need to solve, and can we do it quick. We cannot be taking 5 years to go and solve industry problems. The industry can't wait for you. So I mean, there's got to be a balance between initiatives from industry, and the like what you say, working together with academia. I said, here is a problem. Would you want to solve it? And can you go and ask for funding? So that's the issue. And currently, for example, I think we raised many issues about agriculture. I know Vitrox is working on agriculture issue. I know a lot of universities are doing research on agriculture. How do we use IoT? How do you use sensors and all that to monitor and make agriculture perfect, so to speak, using science-based. I know now we have a problem in Cameron Highlands. So why are we not solving this problem, and use your research and make it commercialize it, and get the research work that you are doing out onto the field, and so on. So I think there need to be a pull and push between university and industry to solve all these problems, and hopefully the government can support some of the projects. That's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. I've got a question, and this question I want to pose to all 4 of you. If you can give me quick answers to this. He says, yes, the question says, is the government opening the border to foreign talents to come in? He talks about, he knows about national aspiration to use locals and for the university to develop, to make sure they're in alignment, what the industry need and what the academia is producing is in alignment. But he says, can we be like Singapore? Can we be a bit relaxed? Can we not be so reluctant to let skilled foreign professionals to come in? Because after all, the objective is to get this industry developed. Dato' Valu, can you say words on this?
This is policy matter, but my answer is very simple. So I said some of the we have the target, aspiration, and the destination where we want to go. The government have put it in after extensive review with the industries. We know what industry wants right now. So this strategies comes in the RMK 12. How to achieve the strategies, the initiatives we have put in. Now that is what we're asking the industries or communities or anybody who's come and join us, give the idea. So this is one of the ideas been thrown to us. Okay, can we open the border, get the foreign talents come in? By all means, come and discuss. Let them see pro and cons of it, and then that is the best answer. I mean, I'm sure the relevant ministers will come up with the quick solution for it. No problem.
Okay. All right, good. Now,
I'd like to respond to that. This is my hot button, the development. I mean, if you look at the world, US, they've been doing it for a long time. They attract the world's best talent to go to US to study in MIT, Harvard, Stanford, whatever, all the top universities that they have. And then they stay back and work in the US. They attracted the world's talent to be in US. The same thing with Singapore. Singapore attract all the ASEAN top talents to work in Singapore. They start with the ASEAN scholarship at Standard 6, and then Form 3, and then Form 5, they keep attracting Malaysian talents, Vietnamese, whatever, Filipinos, you just name them, Chinese, China, and bring them to Singapore, and so that they can take the country up to the next level. So the fear and so on. And now, by the way, China has this 10,000 talents. They attracted at least 7,000 scientists and top scientists and engineers to China. Taiwan just recently came to Malaysia to hire talent from Malaysia because they don't have talent. So the war of talent is real. Okay, it is very real. But there's nothing wrong with using other countries' talent. We have many, at least I was told, at least 1,000 foreign students studying in Malaysia, and a lot of them in science and engineering. Why can't we hire them and put them in work in Malaysia? So the problem Malaysia has is, if you talk to MOHR, is if you do that, you deprive Malaysians of a job. But today we don't have enough engineers. We don't have enough top quality engineers, but there's nothing wrong with using other people's talent, other countries' talent. And that to me should be a strategy for the country. Reason is that we are not actually taking jobs away from Malaysians, but we are actually creating more jobs. So this year I may need 50 engineers. I hire 10 from foreign or even from the local universities, for foreign students studying in local universities. Next year, I may be hiring 200 more. I created 200 jobs. So let's say I still hire 50 from foreign students or foreign engineers. I created another 150 engineering jobs. So this thing will grow to 1,000 in the future. So we are creating more jobs because we seize the opportunity to start a project and to build on it and build the competency and capability down the road. So I strongly support this concept of using other countries' talent and help build our country and build our talent so that we can progress at a much faster rate. Malaysians are everywhere, all over the world. They have been attracted to go to other countries. So we have to attract other people to come back, to come and join us. Thank you.
This is a hot topic that will never end. Okay, I understand. Dave. I know you. I bet you and Chu wants to say something. I have no problem with that. Okay, Kay, over to you. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think there are two schools of thoughts. Yeah, one, of course, to attract talents come to this country. Of course, the other one would be how to utilize talents across the world. And this is the model that we are using now. Right now, we have apart from our product in LED automotive, we also design ICs. Yeah, so we do a system integrated package that integrate ICs that has digital, analog, and memory modules with the LED in a single package. All right. So how we do that is that we set up a R&D center in Silicon Valley. So we have 4 specialists there, and we set up another 8 guys in Taiwan to coordinate with the wafer foundry. Of course, this setup was much earlier. I'm not aware about sky chips and all this thing, but it's good today. Yeah, I'm not aware about it. But using this model, what will be the ultimate objective? The ultimate objective is that we attract talents across the world. We make sure the intellectual property is contained in Malaysia. I think that's a very important objective. And secondly, whatever design that is done or ultimately fabless in let's say TSMC that we are using today, the back end producing here and the export come from Malaysia, right? And I think that is very important. Yeah, but of course, this model, this thought has some challenges. Yeah, our MIDA doesn't approve this idea. All right, you say because you don't have a fab in Malaysia. You have to use the fab in Malaysia. Yeah? Otherwise, you cannot be qualified for certain incentives. So we were definitely very upset about this. I know Citera very well, but because the technology are just different and so on. So these are things that I think we need to refine this kind of policy. If we cannot allow foreign talents to come in, but we need to refine the policy that to make sure the IP is contained in Malaysia, to make sure the end product is produced in Malaysia and export out from Malaysia. I think that's a point that I want to bring it up.
That's quite key. Okay, good. Thanks. Chu, we are behind time. I will give you about a couple of minutes or so to just comment on that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, I think I quite agree that we need to open the borders to attract whatever talents that we need to grow the country as a whole. There's no question about it, because I think especially on the area that we really lack of talent in Malaysia, it is really good to learn from others. As far as Vitrox is concerned, we also hired someone from US, but stationed in US, and we also hired foreign students studying in Malaysia. I think that's I'm open for that. But another questions that I want to pose is that at the same time, there are many good talents, Malaysian talents actually decided to leave the country to work in Singapore, to work with others. So we have a talent trains as well. So I think that is the biggest issue. If we have all these talents deciding in Malaysia, I think that will solve the problem. I believe we have more talents outflow than the talent inflow. Thank you.
Okay. If Dato' Sri Wong could be staring at me now, he'll be staring at me because I'm overshot on time. Okay, but nonetheless, I'm going to give you gentlemen about 1.5 minutes to wrap up. You can say whatever things you want, but try to keep it within 1 to 1.5 minutes. Now let's start with you, Dato' Velu.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this webinar. So a lot of things to be discussed. I'm reiterating myself, saying that whatever past is past, let's come together as a whole of nation approach to make sure that whatever target in the RMK 12 we can achieve together. It's no point we are outside the circle and then we are telling this and that. We have to come in and help the government. Now government is more open with the whatever industry wants to say, and we will willing to listen and to facilitate whatever the industries want, because at the end of the day, is we want to achieve high-tech nation, high developed country. So we need the support from the industries, government, and also the communities.
Yeah.
So with that note, I thank you again. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I will attest to that, Dr. Velu. I sitting in as chemical productivity nexus. I will test that, very open. The government now is different from previously, you know. Okay, Dato Sri Wong, over to you for 1.5 minutes or so.
Can I speak last? I'll give more time to.
All right, sorry, but okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have time to present a few slides. Actually, I cut down from 7 slides to 4 slides. That doesn't matter. Okay, I think those are the examples where policy, the detail of policy, has been very much inclined towards the MNC. That's number one. Yeah, the FDI, and a lot of policy has been inclined a lot to the contract manufacturers. Yeah, there is a opportunity, a space that we need to look at, the so-called the OBM, original branding manufacturers, all right? High-tech original branding and high export-based company. How to increase this sector, right? And we know, if you look at that pie chart that I talk about, 43% out of E&E, and there's another 22% oil and gas. We know oil and gas will decline by 2029 because the oil will be depleted.
Yes.
These are the area where E&E can overtake and can help this country to increase this portion. Yeah, I think one area we need to look at will be DDI, high-tech, OBM, original branding, promote Malaysia brand across the world. And this is what we are doing today, that we're not just doing the conventional packaging, the LEDs, we're doing smart LEDs that has sensors, the analog, digital, and they do a feedback, smart feedback. Yeah? And these things that we should promote, give more policy to encourage such a company to excel, and help this country to increase the export.
Mr. Tay, I must say, I'm going to say this anyway. We're proud to have you as Anak Malaysia. Really, I see the passion and drive in you. Okay, Mr. Chu.
Wow, yeah, I fully agree with what Casey said about local companies. As you can see, I actually have a chart, but I think no time to present. In the past 10 years, the locals ATE company, offset company have grown more than 13,000 times percentage. If you look at the stock market, you know that the ATE 10 years ago, the market cap is about less than 200 million. But today, the top 5 ATEs actually contribute, I think, almost 30 billion in the local stock exchange, and it's growing. Why? Because of the I 4.0 adoptions, and many companies, not only in E&E, but also other industry also adopting this IR 4.0. But what is our government stance on this? How can the government put a lot of emphasis specifically to the local companies to push forward this IR 4.0 strategy? I think that is extremely important, because these are design and make in Malaysia products, and right now most of the ATE, and I believe DNO, also exports most of their products to all over the world, and that the IP, the talents are all reside in Malaysia. So I really hope that apart from the E&E, we pay equal focus, equal priorities to the local automations, robotic, and IoT companies, because these are the companies that are going to reap the benefits of the IR 4.0 adoptions across the group. Thank you.
Dr. Sri Wong, okay,
Yes.
we can conclude for us.
Thank you very much, MC. I think with RMK 12, it opens an opportunity for us to give our input, our feedback. We have an action item here to work on the roadmap and whatever strategies that we think is good for the country. At the National E&E Forum, you have heard that more than, I think, $500 billion investment is going to be made in the next 5 years in the front end for fabs. And therefore, there is a huge opportunity that is going to flow down in the whole supply chain, all the way from assembly tests and everything, including design and development. So I think we need to figure out how do we capture all this and come out, like what you all say, local companies willing to take that risk and come out. And so one of the things that we are trying to do in E&E Productivity Nexus in collaboration with MSIA is to establish the National Technology Innovation Center to lower the risk of entry for those who want to come and do design development. Because in the high-tech industry, the barrier to entry is very high. You know, it costs millions of dollars to come in. And therefore, if you want to lower that risk, you know, we can come out with this center that can allow them to do design, prototyping, commercialization, or acquisition of technology. Somehow, we need to get this industry government partnership to help these companies to move forward, including companies who are already in the so-called in the big league. You know, even in the big league today in Malaysia, when you compare with the rest of the world, they are still not in the big league yet. There are still a lot of room to play to get up there. So I think if we can come together, seize this opportunity, and then come back to EPU for some good ideas on how to move forward, I think the opportunity is here for us to present our case. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Chu, Mr. Tay, Dr. Sri Wong, and Dr. Veluan. Our thanks to you, to all of you for spending time this morning. And to Dr. Velu, I'll be coming to see you on behalf of CPN. Perhaps you could do the same for the chemical industry as well. So with that, I pass you back to Nadia. Nadia?
Before that, just give me 1 minute. I just want to say this is not the end of the discussion. We in government, especially in EPU, we are much more willing to engage with the industries, and of course with the partners with the other ministries. And I'm really hoping to see from the industries, whatever we stopped here, we can talk more granular, more depth in other platforms as well. I'm more than willing to engage with the industries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Yang Berbahagia Datuk. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we have come to the end of our program. Please take a minute to provide some feedback of this program to us via the evaluation form. On behalf of EEPN, MPC, and MSIA, we would like to express our utmost gratitude to Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad, Minister in the Prime Minister Department Economy, and Yang Berbahagia Datuk Sri Wong Siew Hai, Champion of Electrical and Electronic Productivity Nexus EEPN, and President of Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association, MSIA, and all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for making this event successful. Thank you and have a pleasant day. Stay safe and stay productive.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.